Okay, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. And today we have Karthik from 3E and to give a presentation related to the topic we've been discussing of the turbine performance analysis. And the plan is the first presentation is probably like 20 to 25 minutes, and then we have some room for discussion and question and answers. And we have a little bit time remaining, and we're going to discuss the logistics for the workspace going forward for the next period. Okay, and without further ado, Katik, and whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I can share my screen. Yeah, so can you see my screen? Or
Yes, if you can make it full screen, that'd be great.
yes. Yeah, is it fine now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Just a second. Okay. Yeah. So hi. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Karthik. So as you said, I work at 3E as a R&D wind engineer for last 4 years, and then yeah, before that, just for the background, my education, like I have my master's from Delft in sustainable energy technology as well. Um, so today's presentation is going to be like on data-driven methods for wind turbine sensor health validation. And the main focus of this will be on fleet level anemometer and wind vane anomaly detection. So yeah, this presentation is similar to the one I gave at Torque. So I don't know who, like, it might be repetitive for the ones who were present at Torque this year at Florence. And yeah, this is I've just cited the paper. So if you want more information, you can find the paper and then you can go through it as well. For the outline for today, I'll just talk like the motivation for why we need like these anomaly detection methods for trying to detect some anomalies in wind speed and wind direction measurements of the wind turbine and methodology with some case studies. We have like 3 or 4 real life case studies which we had from few clients. And then, yeah, I'll just summarize the whole thing in the last slide. Um, so, motivation. So for this, I think as everyone knows, like we need accurate wind speed measurements, I would say, for your power curve analysis or your performance analysis. So we try to check the wind speeds, the nacelle wind speed of each wind turbine before we do the power curve analysis, so that we know that if there is an underperformance or overperformance compared to the contractual power curves, we know if it's because of a change in the wind speed measurements or is it really because of the change in the performance of the turbine. And yeah, also like for operations purposes, like I think the controller still depends on for starting of the turbine and shutting down of turbine. It still requires you the wind speed measurements. So we need it. Uh, yeah, we need to detect if there is anomaly in these sensors so that we are like operating the turbine in safe conditions, and for curtailment application as well. So because in some, like I think even in Europe or I think even in other countries, there are some regulations, especially for onshore wind turbines, where you need to, where there is like a specific wind speed range or wind direction range in which like during the night, like during bad curtailment or noise curtailment, you need to like, yeah, curtail your wind turbine. And if you have like wrong measurements or some anomaly in your wind speed measurements or direction measurements, you might be curtailing at the wrong time, which can affect your revenues as well. So these were the main motivation to, yeah, just start this work. And yeah, go through both the methodologies first and then go through the case studies. So yeah, it's just like structured that way, the presentation. For wind, like as I told before, it's a fleet-wide comparison method. So we assume that, for example, in a given fleet of say 100 turbines, there could be anomalies in like few of them and not all of them, right? So it's based on that analogy, say analogy. So for wind vane anomaly detection, it's a quite simple method, this one, as compared to the anemometer, which I'll explain next. So we not assume, like we made a small comparison between some ERA 5 wind direction and SCADA wind direction for certain plants, and the correlation is quite good for the ERA 5 wind direction and the SCADA wind direction. So we use this principle to try and find the difference between these two in a fleet-wide method. And when we have like some binning and filtering, which we do as well, which is explained more in the paper. But basically, we bin it according to the wind direction and wind speed, and reduce some bins where there are less points. And yeah, we try to compare it in a fleet-wide method. And then for detecting outliers, we use basic interquartile range, where if it's outside the threshold, then we can see if the given wind direction measurement for a one turbine or like a few turbines are anomalous. So again, as I told, it's a fleet-wide method. So if there is a big difference between all the between the RFI direction and the SCADA wind direction for all the turbines, then this method wouldn't work well. But once you see the results, some of it, you'll get to know how the method works in a better way. And for the anemometer anomaly detection, it's the same fleet-wide approach. So for example, say we have a few turbines in a given wind farm. We try to have one target turbine where we want to predict the wind speed of that turbine. So we use like 3 or 4 reference turbines based on highest correlation and highest correlation basically in this case. And then we use the normal behavior period or the fault-free period to like train the machine learning model. In this case, it's XGBoost. We tried multiple models, but XGBoost regression models was working well. So we try to predict the wind speed of the target turbine with just the wind speed and the wind direction of the reference turbines. And as normal behavior modeling, and then we get the residual wind speeds, and then we are more interested in trying to detect the changes in the signal of the residual than just the magnitude of the residual for like creating alarms. So what we found, as I'll show in the examples again in the case studies, we found that so we use an offline change point detection, like it's from this package called ruptures in Python. So what we found out was all the change points which we detected would not change the power curve, or would not result in a change in the power curve. So we tried to measure the median of the residual before and after the change point detection, and then based on this magnitude of change in the residual, we try to give an alarm so that, and then we can check with the power curve measurements to see if it's due to the wind speed change or the power performance change. And for a normal behavior, we need to like do basic data pre-processing. So as standard, I guess, like everyone, like for as we have for temperature modeling and stuff, we use like 1 year of SCADA data for training. And we have the SCADA logs as well. So we try to eliminate those data points when there was alarms for the alarms. And we also like remove the curtailment and other outliers for both training and application. So we only apply this algorithm when the turbine is performing in the primary mode, as you say, like, or in the main mode, and not when it's being curtailed. So we remove all those data points so that that takes into effect some kind of wake and stuff as well. And we use only wind speed ranges between 5 and 25 meters per second to reduce some uncertainty, because at low wind speeds, the anemometer might not work the best. So we just choose it between the wind speed ranges of 5 to 25 meters per second. And as I told, like we use timestamps for training and prediction when all the turbines in the wind farm is producing power, or at least the ones which we use as reference and training is producing power. That's the data pre-processing, and as I told, it's explained in detail in the paper as well. And so then we try to do a simple sensitivity analysis, because for example, in some offshore wind turbines, there might be like 30 to like say 50 to 60 turbines, and then it would be computationally too expensive to include the data of all. Say if you want to predict the wind speed on one turbine, to use all like the remaining like 30 to 40 other turbines. So we just try to do a simple sensitivity analysis to see a prediction errors, and then when we, like as you see from the plots, like yeah, we between 4 and 5 we got like a good, when you use like 4 or 5 reference turbines, we got like a good model prediction. And then there is improvement if you use more turbines, but yeah, it's not a lot. So we limit it to 4 to 5 in this cases, but you could use more as well for higher accuracy if required. Um, so yeah, so I'll get into the case studies for the anemometer first here. It's all like a real life case study which we had, where we knew like there was a fault in the anemometer. Yeah. So in the first case, so this is a recent case study which we had from one of the clients, where we could see, like when we just compared the power curve, we could see an overperformance. For example, if you see the green curve and the blue curve, it's the green curve is the contractual power curve from the manufacturer for the given power for the given wind farm. And blue here, yeah, was the power curve before there was some change in the wind speed measurement. And then orange, obviously, like because the wind speed measurement was wrong, you could see an increase in the power. So yeah, I mean, it could be misinterpreted as overperformance, but then when the customer went and checked, there was some misalignment, because most of the wind turbines, these what we had, use a sonic anemometer, so there was some misalignment between, like in the sonic anemometer. So in this case, we could detect the change, and then yeah, when the customer went and checked on the turbine, they realized that yeah, there was some fault in the uh, alignment of this anemometer. So yeah, it was not a case of overperformance basically in this case. And like, so similarly, I have two more cases. So in this case as well, like this was an offshore wind farm in Belgium, again, which has a sonic anemometer on top. So they had like a clear change, like a drastic change, not like just a drastic change in the alignment of the sonic anemometers. And then, so yeah, when we could model, we could see the change of wind speed, as I mentioned. And then, the underperformance was not actually an underperformance, but it was due to a change in the wind speed. And when they corrected for it, like after 3 4 months, you could see the power curve went back to normal. And this was, and they had like multiple turbines in this wind farm which had like a fault with the yeah, with the alignment of the sonic anemometer that particular year. I'm not sure why, but yeah, this is how we start. Like this was a case which we used to start the, like just try to develop this algorithm. So it kind of worked quite well here as well. And then we had one synthetic data just for reference, which we use, where we try to give a synthetic change in the wind speeds. And then again, as you can see, we could detect these change points in the residuals, and you could see a change in the power curve. And then just to make sure it's not a fault with the turbine per se, and then it's just a change in the wind speed. So yeah, these are the three case studies which we use. And then as we speak, I mean, this was one of the algorithms which is already being like used every day in our like, yeah, we have our own monitoring platform where we have like few wind farms connected, so it runs every day. So we could see some changes in other farms, but yeah, we are still in contact with the customers to see if it's a change in anemometer and stuff. But yeah, as I said, like we are doing more validation as we speak on this algorithm every day. Yeah, so um, so we wanted to know, because it's like a black box model, even XGBoost, like even though you have like, it's a decision tree based, but it's still like we wanted to see how the model is understanding what, like how to predict the wind speed based on the other turbines. So we use this SHAP analysis just for us to make sure that the model is learning the physics of the wind flow, because we know what affects the for example, we know the wake effects exist, and the downstream turbine is affected by the upstream one. So we just wanted to like see if the model is learning the similar way. So we used SHAP. So SHAP is one of the explainable AI methods, and there are multiple of them, but we chose SHAP because it's mainly model agnostic, as in like if we use like XGBoost or neural networks or any other machine learning algorithms, we could use the same SHAP analysis or SHAP values to compare what the model is trying to predict. And then it's based on this game theory approach of Shapley values, but which I don't know full in detail, but it's based on game theory things. And basically it gives how the given features have how much importance in the prediction of the model. So we use SHAP for this, and then we did few analysis, but we found one interesting for a simple just to make sure like everyone understands. So this is we do a global SHAP analysis for the whole prediction, not just for one timestamp, but for say for a given year, or just to see what affects the wind flow across the wind farm. So in this case, you can see like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the wind farm. So this is the given layout, and you can see the north direction. And so the ones which have the trees are the ones where there are forests in front of those wind turbines, and the ones with plain green is just like a plain grass. So it has different shear profiles. Each turbine sees a different shear profile when the wind when wind comes from different directions. So we for the presentation, we choose 3 turbines to see if it's learning the way it should. So for example, so the color code, if you see, like for example, the orange here is it means that 2 has more contribution in predicting 1. So it's all based on color codes. So in this case, if you see 1 and 2 are neighbors, so naturally we assume that 2 has more influence on 1. And also, like for example, 1 and 2 have similar the shear profiles, I would say, or roughness would be similar because they're just in front of the grasslands. In this case, as you see for wind turbine 1, 2 contributes the most, but this is a simple case. So then if you look, for example, say wind turbine 3 for the SHAP values, it's a bit more, if you see, not complicated, I would say, but it makes sense because if the wind is coming from, say, upstream of 2, for wind turbine 3, it uses the features from wind turbine 2, basically the wind speed and direction from wind turbine 2 higher than the other directions. And as 3 and if you see 3 and 4 have similar, again, topographical features from this direction, from say north east. So you see like the wind speed or wind direction of turbine 4 contributes more in these directions for the prediction of wind speeds of turbine 3. And similarly, if I see one more case of, this is for wind turbine 5. Yes, this is for wind turbine 5. And this is a bit more complicated because 5 and 6 are above, like there is like, these are all on like say 0 meters, and this is like say 30 meters above ground. So there is an elevation for 5 and 6 compared to 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you see for 5, again, like 6 contributes more in this direction, even though there is a bit of roughness, a bit of like say roughness, and 6 doesn't have any grassland as well in front. So basically what we get to know from this is the model is trying to kind of learn the physics of the wind flow as well. And we tried it for more complicated cases as well, like in offshore, as well as some other wind farms like this. And then for us, it made sense that the model for learning in all the environments or all the profiles, it was kind of learning how the physics works. Like it was trying to like model the wake effects as well. So the model is quite, I would say, robust for any given type of wind farm. And so the main takeaway, as I told from this, was like the weight of the feature contribution. Like as I told, it depends on neighboring turbines, and it also makes sure that the wind turbine upstream is taken more into account. For example, in offshore, which makes sense. And as I showed here again, like if you have similar topographical zone for a given turbine, for a given like 2-3 turbines, then the effect of those turbine wind speeds on the target turbine weighs more. Um, yeah, so this was the main takeaway from SHAP analysis, just to make sure that our model is a bit more robust. Though, yeah, though this part is not included in the paper, which is there online, because we did this analysis a bit later. As I told, as we speak, like we're still trying to improve the model with maybe a bit different inputs and outputs as well. So yeah, this is still sometimes work in progress. But yeah, we are not working too actively now because we are just trying to validate a bit more cases, just using the first version of this algorithm, which is presented as I show you now. Yeah, for wind vane anomaly detection, yeah, as I told, we didn't have any like like a real life case study in this case. So what we tried to do was to get like a data set where we knew there was no fault with the wind vane, and we tried to introduce like synthetic faults of 10 degrees in this case, and just try to see if we could, like, based on just the difference between this era 5 and the SCADA wind direction, if we could find some outliers using the interquartile range. And then yeah, as you can see, like the usually the era 5 and the SCADA follows a particular direction, but as I told, which we introduced like a synthetic fault, you could see like it's very different from the fleet, I would say fleet pattern for this case in blue. So yeah, in this case we could find the outlier in this, but as I told, this is a sorry, yeah, this is a synthetic case. And also, as I told, even this is running live on the platform, but we haven't found any wind vane anomalies yet in our system as well. So yeah, but this is how the method works, and for the synthetic faults, it works quite well. And yeah, just to summarize, yeah, as I told, like the sensor measurement, especially like the Nusselt wind speed measurements, are not always relevant for your power curve analysis, because because there is a rotor in front, and sometimes there might be misalignments in your sonic anemometers, or yeah, even the cup anemometers. And yeah, for anemometer anomaly detection, we use the ML model with a few reference turbines, and this number was what we found. The ideal was 4 to 5, but we also found, yeah, if you use a bit more turbines as well, the sensitivity of the what do you say, like the anomaly detection doesn't change a lot. But yeah, we are still experimenting which would be a good number of turbines, but for now it's 4 to 5. And we use like offline change point detection for alarms. Also the plan, so we also tried to use some online change point detection algorithms, but as I told, like sometimes you detect some change points, but the you if based on the change point detection algorithm, the sensitivity might change. So for now, an offline method works because we can compare the before and after change point for, like, say we observe it for like 1 or 2 weeks, and if the change in the median is higher than a given threshold, then we give out an alarm. So it's still like lagging by 1 or 2 weeks, depending on the case or the like the magnitude of this change. But yeah, the future is to in the future we plan to use some kind of online change point detection to make sure it runs in real time as well. And then yeah, we use the SHAP values, like it's again an open source model for Python, like open source library for Python, where to get just like the model insights to see what the turbine predicts, or how the model is trying to predict, sorry. uh yeah, and for wind vane, yeah, the basic idea, as I told, is just to compare SCADA and era 5. And in the future, so we have, instead of era 5, we plan to use like a virtual metmask model. So we are like one more team in my offices that they're developing this. It's already developed, I would say. This method where you downscale your era file with WARF, and then have like a mesoscale model where you have like more, I would say, I won't say turbine specific, at least a wind farm specific wind directions, uh, which works quite well. And then we are still doing the validation with the real life MetMaster as well, which kind of works as of now. So we plan to in the future maybe replace this era 5 with the deep learning model, which we have to downscale the era 5 to mesoscale models. And yeah, the outlier detection here, as I told, it's based on the interquartile range for this anomaly detection. So this was it, I guess. So if you have some questions, I would be happy to take, or some discussion. If you have some inputs on some methods, I would be happy as well to listen to you. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much, Kathy. We open the floor for discussion. Any questions from the audience?
Excuse me, I have a question.
Please.
Yeah.
Excuse me, on slide 5, you discussed that the model is XGBoost. I assume the Y output is the speed, but can you explain what are your input data features?
Yeah, it's input, as I told, it's just we don't do it's just the wind speed and the wind direction of, for example, in this case of these 4 turbines to predict the wind speed on this turbine. So it's basically just the nacelle wind speed and wind direction.
Okay. One more question is like on ER. I'm sorry. On slide 4.
So, Hamad, let me ask a follow-up question here, since we're on the slide. So Kasich, here, the green turbine, you said it's a reference turbine, it's a fault-free. The red one is a target turbine. Now, if I imagine in a kind of practical situation, in the real-time monitoring, you cannot really guarantee all the reference turbines going forward. Some of them probably will have a problem, right? So how do you, I try to think, how you can make sure, the reference turbine is always fault-free.
Yeah, that's one of the drawbacks as well of this method. So, for example, if sometimes there are, I mean, we haven't stumbled upon it yet, but I mean, this was one of the questions we had when we were doing this as well. So we then try to do like a power curve analysis on all the turbines as well, like a simple, and then to see if there is changes in all the turbines or just one of the turbines. Usually what we found was only sometimes the target turbine had changes, but yeah, if there is a change in the reference turbine as well, there is an issue. But as I said, like if we involve a bit more turbines, I would say like just instead of 4 or 5, like if you have like 10, 12 turbines, then the sensitivity of each input reduces. So sometimes if there is just one turbine which has fault, when you're trying to use the inputs of more than say 4 or 5 turbines to predict one, it's kind of omitted sometimes. That's what we found because of like a higher number of inputs. The feature importance for each reduces a bit more. So yeah, that's one thing what we found when we were modeling as well. So yeah, basically.
Do you
Yeah.
assume there are always only one turbine will see a sensor measurement problem at a time? So what if there's more than one actually had a problems simultaneously?
Yeah, I mean, if there is more, as I told, it works on a fleet level, like even, for example, the wind direction and the wind speed. So, for example, if you say, yeah, then that would be an issue. So, for example, then if there is a change in 3 or 4 of the reference turbines when you're trying to model the, for example, if there is a change in just the nacelle transfer function of, like, say, half of the fleet, which is not the case usually because if they change the nacelle transfer function, it would be all the turbines, which I assume. So yeah, in those cases, the model wouldn't work, I guess. Like if you have faults in like say more than half of your input features, then the model obviously gives the wrong output. So the assumption is like, yeah, if there is fault in just one turbine out of all the input, it still works well, which is what we found. And
Okay.
yeah, that's still a drawback for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Haman, yeah, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you. On slide 4, like for scatter data, I assume it's like 10 minutes data, but what about error 5? Is it the same scale, or you just
So no, yeah. So what we do is, yeah, SCADA is 1 hour. No, SCADA is 10 minutes. Yes. Era 5 is 1 hour. So what we do is like it's not like a real time again. So we try to aggregate so we use hourly wind direction. So we try to use the same timestamps when we have Era 5 and SCADA. And it's like a weekly or a 2-weekly evolution of the changes what we see. It's not like every 10 minutes we try to calculate, or every hour we try to calculate the change. So instead it's the circular difference, and then when we're doing this binning and filtering, we try to like accumulate like 2 weeks of data like each hourly to see if there is changes. So it's not 10 minutes or 1 hour.
Oh, thank you. One last question of mine is like, the shaft is somehow new for me. I was wondering if we can use any custom models on shaft, or it's like just working on special things like XGBoost. Do you think we can fit like a custom regression model into shaft or something like that?
I think it's possible. I haven't explored too much of the
Okay.
package yet, but
Thank you.
I assume, but yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Any other comments or questions? So Catholic, I always ask the question, I have your talk paper. It's okay for me, after the meeting, I post the slides and recording and in the Way2Win the platform. And it's okay for me to put your paper next to that, next to recording and the slides.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
But as I told in the paper, there are like some things like which is there, like all the SHAP analysis and stuff, which is not.
It's not there. Yeah. It's just
not there. Yeah.
because the paper can provide additional details for certain kind of steps at the beginning part of the talk, right? So if someone is interested, they can
Yeah,
go
sure.
and find the paper. And also, other than the synthetic data, you use your own data to do the analysis, the anemometer anomaly detection. Is that right?
Yeah, so these two cases it's a real life case where we actually knew there was this fault on the anemometer when they changed, and then the power curve went back to normal. And this one is more like a synthetic where we try to say change 5% each week in the 5 or 10. I forgot exactly because this was done a while ago. We just try to change like 5% of the wind speed of the target turbine each week, and then you can see this change in the residual is also there's a slope. So this one is a synthetic case study just to see if it works. But the other two cases which I showed, like these two are like a real life case study which we had. Yeah.
Okay. So for those data, are the data public available? Are you willing to share the data?
Uh, yeah, I I don't. I mean, yeah, I should ask my managers and stuff, but yeah, it's from these offshore clients who are not. I mean, it involves more people, I would say. I mean, I can't give you an answer, but maybe I could get back to you after talking to my managers and who handle all the contracts and stuff. I just use the data. Yeah.
The synthetic data you can share those data, right? Because you synthesize the data, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, like for example, the date time has changed, but that's why I normalized the power and stuff. But yeah, for presentation, it's fine. I could show. But I mean, if I would have to share with say like how we do for wind, we do wind, then I think we should ask the permission of the client, and it's a bit more process. But maybe I could get back to you next week after talking to my office colleagues. But yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be nice because one of the the purpose for the We Do Win the collaborations is also kind of bring additional data and so to promote the reproducible open access type of research. Now the next question is related to computer code, right? You have the method, but sometimes people try to replicate, they run into problems. So they would like to see how you actually do the implementation yourself. Is the computer code shareable, can be released to the We Do Win the participant?
I think that should be possible. I think because in the paper we mention, we just mentioned the inputs, outputs, and we say we use the XGBoost regression model as well. And then we do a hyperparameter tuning on top, obviously, as any process. So
that's quite critical, right? Because
yeah, that's
if you
the
don't
main
get the
thing. Yes.
parameter in the right place, and sometimes you don't get the result you wanted.
That's
Right?
true, but I could give the, for example, hyperparameters as well. That should be fine to run these things. So, I don't know if about the code, but I think if I tell you if it's XGBoost model and if I tell you the inputs,
Is
and
the code in Python?
yes, it's all in Python. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So
well, think about that. If you can share the Jupyter, the book, and other people can use your code, probably increase the impact of your work as well, right? Kind of spread your
that's
idea.
true.
Yeah.
So I think that should be possible, as I told. More than data for code for sure, but data I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, typically what we do is just the one place after your presentation date, and then we have slides, presentation, paper. If we have data code, and just kind of going that way. Yeah.
Okay.
But
sure.
we were gonna post your slides, presentation, and the paper first, and then think about the data code. And whenever you're ready, you can share that with me, and I will share with the rest of the We Do Win the participant. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
And any other comments and questions? Okay, well, thank you very much, and that concludes our first part of the presentation, and we start the We Do Win the collaboration on the turbine performance analysis, and from beginning of the year, and we had this is our 8th monthly meeting. The first one is January, and we didn't really schedule for the next period, but given the interest, we have roughly about 15 also participants, come to the meeting on a regular basis. And today actually is a relatively small crowd. I realize a lot of folks from Europe actually. August is the holiday season, and for European participants. So I like to extend the monthly meeting for September and beyond. It's going to be on the second Monday and every month, and I will list the days on the We Do Win the platform, but we're going to change the time by 1 hour to shift that to 1 hour later at 10 a.m. Eastern Time US, which is 4 p.m. Central European Time. One of the reasons for that change is I received a number of requests from Enrio's colleague, and some of them would like to participate, but the 9 a.m. time, which is their 7 a.m., is way too early for them. So 10 a.m. is 8 a.m. for them, which is more doable. So hopefully the 1 hour shift is not too much detrimental to our European colleagues. And also over the time, I do have with the help of Sarah's We Do Win the space, and there's a new participant sign up for the workspace, and I constantly receive the email to saying how do I find the recording and the slides. So I'm going to send another email, and not only announce our extension to the next period, but also give a kind of step-by-step instruction where you're going to find all this kind of the description of the collaboration, and also the materials for each month's meeting, and the dates for each month's meeting. I'm going to do that sometime today, and That's pretty much it for the logistics next period. And any questions and comments? The current plan to extend is to until May 2025, and we may not necessarily use all the monthly meeting. And if we finish early, and we'll probably just send an announcement to say, here conclude our monthly meeting. But hopefully by that time we have gone through all the folks who wanted to give a presentation, give a discussion on the topic, and try their method. And also my PhD student, Ahmad, is doing some analysis using some of the existing presentation, and then he will give a number of talks to either compare the method and or demonstrate some of how the method can be used using the data we provided. Okay, and yeah, if no further, Sarah, anything from your side? Any comments, suggestions?
No, I mean, I haven't been to a meeting for a while, and I suppose I was wondering how are you aiming, if you got an aim at the end to write a paper or share like concrete results on methods, or is there something you've talked about?
Yeah, we have that in mind. So this is one of the things Ahmad is trying to do, because right now there's no submission of the result yet to the using the data we provided, but there's more kind of discussion with each participant's own data or method kind of ideas to share. So that's also, I thought at the very beginning, we didn't really necessarily call this as kind of a competition or challenge or so forth, and rather a collaboration. There's some interesting ideas. So hopefully Ahmad's work can kind of make them tie together to some extent. At one of the early meeting, we said that there's two bigger problem under the umbrella. One is how can you make sure the measurement is trustworthy? Primarily is wind speed, right? Wind direction to some extent. And then the second one is assume the wind speed, wind direction measurement, they are accurate enough. How you're going to control for the confounding factor, and then to attribute whatever the change you observe in the power is really because of the turbine itself's change, not really kind of the external factors change. Okay. For example, today's Kasek's presentation is more kind of falling to the first part, and there's some early presentation fall in the second part. So that I think is helpful, because this is one of the discussion point from one of the very early, if I don't remember wrong, February discussion, which helps to kind of lay out the general challenge related to the question, right? And then we needed to kind of arrange those kind of method to each category, and then to say at least there are some of these kind of ideas out there, if we eventually write a paper to summarize the activity.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and we are 10 minutes ahead of our ending time, which is good. I generally like to finish the meeting 10 minutes early if possible. So I will send out the email, and the next meeting is going to be September 16th at 10 a.m. US Eastern Time, and Alex from RES will present their work on this topic. He actually tried to use the data we share and try to produce some of the result. And I look forward to seeing that. Okay, and see you in September. Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.